Marduk was contacted by to send him back. But Marduk himself did not
Man,
give credit, rather.
I'll tell you. So the topic in the comment section, for the most part, it's about what's about my channel. It's about what's going on with this channel. It's our channel. I just started it. That's all. I started this channel. It's everybody's. Everybody can log in. Everybody can click on the video. Everybody can thumbs up, thumbs down. They can like, share. They can subscribe or don't. So the main topic is, well, between fasting and, Jonathan Click and Derek Burrows and Nathan, you have a lot to say about Click and Derek, and so did I. So do I, and so have I. Because for the first year of getting on Click, I got on them with 100% knowledge in my own head that he is a flat-out lying false prophet. Then, because I did that with Steve when I was on him for like the first year, and that's still true. However, he hasn't talked much. Click talks a lot, and for long periods of time too, like hours. And I get a lot of information out of him. Whether the perception is that he's lying, being deceptive, talking in subliminal language. Like, why would you have to do that? If you're telling the truth, why do you have to talk in subliminal language? Well, when you tell the truth and let's say this, when you have an understanding of a word, and you also understand that that same word can be interpreted two exact opposites of each other, and then somewhere in between, then you know that every other word that you say can do the same thing. That's why Christ said, if you have ears to hear, if you have eyes to see. See, Christ didn't speak plain language to people, and I'm not saying Jonathan Click is Christ, but here's the thing. At this time, I know it doesn't seem like it, because look at the world, it's disgusting, it's sickening. Christ is rising up inside of the minds and the hearts of the ones that are in charge of the planet. You can't stop it from happening. It just happens. It flows through and it happens. You can keep trying to fight it. You can keep trying to lie to people. You can keep trying to push a narrative and deceive people. You see, I think when it comes to Peter and Paul, well, Peter was more, it's like Peter was ahead of Paul when it comes to, because he already denied Christ 3 times. Paul came along after, he came around after the fact. So when Christ spoke in parables, who understood him? Except for the people that could see with the eyes that they have, and they were hearing, because the Bible says, my sheep will know my voice. Well, it's not, it has nothing to do with a monotone. It has nothing to do with a high pitch, low pitch, in between pitch. The voice is the language. Not everybody knows Christ comes as a thief in the night. The entire planet's not going to know who Christ is. I don't care who it is. Even if they tried to play it where Derek Burrows is the Christ, which I know a lot of people believe that he is. Well, I don't know. I have no proof whatsoever. My heart knows that there's a bunch of people that are looking at him as being Christ in the flesh as the Father, because, you know, once the Father, only the Father knows the Son knows the Father. So once the Father recognizes the Son, then the Son is going to recognize the Father. However, the Son and the Father, it's in one. It's in one. There's one person that does it first, and then everybody else follows along, because it's a self-manifested Scorpion King. In the flesh, somebody is supposed to do this in real life. Now, but how is that possible? No matter who sees it, no matter, you show me one person that you're going to say, that's Christ right there. That's him. I believe him. Nobody. Nobody on earth who doesn't have eyes to see. If you have ears to hear, if you have speakers and you can hear, and you can connect into any device on planet Earth, if you have eyes to see, you'll be able to see, well, where are the candidates? Who wants to be America's next top messiah? There's people that are literally in place for this prize. And they've known this from the beginning, that this is a competition. So all you YouTubers out there, and ready, set, go. And you were all set up, because somebody's going to be the vicar of Christ. Now, I wouldn't believe anybody is Christ in the flesh if I met anybody at all. So how would I expect anybody else to believe it? I don't believe it. The only way it's possible is if there's a group of people that run the planet. They have eyes everywhere. They have their two eyes, but they have eyeballs. They have ears. You see that little eyeball right there? You see that? They have ears to hear. That's a speaker. They got eyes to see everybody and everything, everywhere. Not just on this planet, but the other 8 that are out there underneath our dome on this flat plane of surface that goes all the way around, probably like Saturn. We're probably suspended in the air, like God said, in a dome, in the belly of the beast. And there's, in all likelihood, a flat surface that goes straight across to all 9 planets. Because that's why they named 9 planets, right? Yeah, it's just a theory. I figure sometimes I'll just throw stuff and maybe it'll stick. And the ones that have eyes to see, you know if I'm hit or miss. And only you would know that. Everybody else is just guessing just like I am. So why would you possibly believe that any one person that walks the planet is going to be Christ in the flesh? If you don't have eyes to see, you don't have surveillance everywhere on planet Earth, you can't even see it. You can only guess. And that's what we're all doing, is guessing. There's a bunch of people that believe that Kleck is Christ in the flesh because that's how they found him. There's a bunch of people that believe that Derek is Christ in the flesh because that's how they found him. And then on the flip side, there's also people that believe that each one of them is Lucifer in the flesh because that's how they found him. Christ is bringing destruction upon the earth. The scorpions had a king over them. Who had a king over them? The scorpions. They had a king over them. It's a manifested king that hasn't been brought to the surface yet. Has to rise up from the pit first. Everybody has their own ideas as to who that is. And a lot of people believe that it's Derek Rose and or Jonathan Kleck. because they have the most power, or at least here's the thing, they're at least showing me that they have and know all the things that are happening on Earth. So if they're not the ones in charge of it, well, they damn sure know it's going to happen. So think about that. If anybody has a concern about me and what I'm listening to, and people have plenty of times, I remember Barb would say a numerous amount of times that she sees me being deceived by certain people and it bothers her, and I appreciate that, Barb. However, you also continued to watch and you see how I progress or digress into evolving into understanding that, all right, well, hey, look, I had to learn on my own. So the concern about Jonathan Clegg leading me astray and Derek Bros leading me astray, these are two people that are in charge of the planet. Keep that part in mind. In charge of this planet K, which is 11, place of destruction, Abaddon, cheap slaughter, Apollyon. Locusts are coming, rising from the pit. Locusts are true believers. Why do you think they're not hurting anything that's green grass or anything? They have tails like scorpions. There's a scorpion race. There's locusts coming from the pit. Locusts have tails like scorpions, and they sting. And that sucks. I thought I was getting raptured. Shit. It hurts. I'd rather die. I thought I was going up there. Well, some of you are going up there, but it's a. Remember when you guys head up there and get raptured, and you're partying. It's Trump's birthday, exchanging gifts to one another. Remember that. June 14th, the harvest. I seen it on one of Clegg's videos because he subliminally showed it to me. He just showed you a date, 6/14, the harvest, which is perfect time because 7 days from then is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everybody. You're either going to get Satan or you're going to get Christ for a father. And then I get, well, 7 days later, I get to exchange gifts to one another, to myself, for my birthday. 43 full years old. Starting YouTube at 40. Almost 40 full years, April 2nd, 2017. Because I think 2016 this thing came about, this competition. Was it 11/11? Probably, right? 11/11, because that means that June 11th would be the second 9/11, and that would be 42 months from the time that this 11/11/2016 competition came into play. 42 months. June 11th would be 42 months. Today is the 9th of June 2020, and it's Tuesday. In 2 more days is my next 9/11 prediction in Philly, and then 2 days after that I can eat. You know, I want to put to rest all the fear about not eating for 21 days. The closest thing I had to food was a V8. It's still liquid. I mean, it's vegetables, but it's liquid. And butterscotch. For 16 days. After the first 7 days, once you pass that, once you pass what you've already done, going into 10 days, food just, it's not a priority to think about. It's not something to dwell on. And it helps you with your thoughts. Any thoughts that you want to think about that are negative, look, it's the same as thinking about food. You don't have to go in the refrigerator and grab anything. You don't have to continue to think what you just thought because it was injected into your brain. So I understand people's concern. You got to eat something, Rob. You got to eat something. You're malnutrition, Rob. I can tell. You're just, Rob, you need to eat something. Please. Yeah, of course I'll be somewhat malnutrition, but I'm also going to gain a lot of self-control for these 21 days. And then after I decide to eat again, the amount of self-control that you get from refraining yourself from eating, it's exponential. Just try it. Get and try it. Yeah, don't eat anything today. Just don't even do it. Like, I know how tough people are. Ah, you're tough. Just, you know what's gangster? Really, really tough? Not eating something for a day. Something as simple as just don't put food in your mouth. See how tough you are. See how much control you really have over your thoughts and your mind, your well-being. 3 days is good because it's a reset. 7 days is better. And then after 10, it's just all the same. You live life without food. You think of other things to do and other things to think about without consuming food. It's a different lifestyle. I did the barbecue on Sunday for my family. I cooked everybody food, burgers, hot dogs, and fed them. I handed everybody their plate. I made their burgers. I made their hot dogs. I added their, chicken salad, whatever you wanted, anything like that. And it felt good to feed people and know that I'm still going to live without food. And then, so this Sunday, it'll be 21 days. And, well, if the second 9/11 doesn't happen on Thursday, because I can't see any way that I wouldn't get locked up for predicting it. How do you not get locked up? Second 9/11 at 17th and JFK at 8:48 a.m. on 6/11/2020 at 8:48 a.m. with a bombing right there. Second, third floor? I don't know why it would be on the third floor or the second, besides to match what is on the back of a $50 bill. And that's because you see all these ATMs are getting blown up in Philadelphia, and it started in Philadelphia. At least 100. They made sure that he told you 100 ATMs are getting blown up, which is leaning towards the actual bank bombing itself. And then as soon as the bank bombing happens at 17 JFK in Philadelphia, well, then that's the beginning of the bank closures and all of the money not being any good, because they're already showing you right now. There's 100 places that you cannot insert your credit card and get money or anything. So it's the beginning stages of the economy and the bank system collapsing. It's almost too good to be true. Think about it. Think about how many people, including yourself probably, I don't want the banks to close it. What am I going to do? Am I going to be able to eat, get any food? Exactly. Why do you think I'm not eating for this amount of time? Because when it does happen, after the 21 days, I feed myself, I eat a nice barbecue, I maintain my natural weight. My natural weight is about 165, 5'9", 165, 160, 65, 70, something like that. I don't know what I weigh at this moment, but after I did the first week of the fast, I was at 175. 9 days later, I haven't weighed myself. I'll do it when I'm done. But I'll be right around my natural weight for the first time in my life, maintaining it the right way, because I'm tired of having a stomach. So if I need to eat, why is there still fat on my stomach? If I need to eat, I need to eat something or I'm going to die. How come I still have fat? Now what I'm going to do is stick with a diet. Whether I eat the one day and don't eat the next, eat the next day, don't eat the next. I might do something like that just to keep it balanced, depending on where my weight goes. So when it comes to eating food, I'll eat it when I get to it. But if the second 9/11 happens, I'm going to jail, and so that would be on the 11th. I started fasting the day before George Floyd was brutally murdered with a knee upon his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, 2 minutes and something else seconds altogether, even after he died. So it's 8 minutes and 46 seconds plus 2, 8:48 minutes after the death, 8:48 a.m. That would be, so I've been fasting since before Floyd died. Did I see it coming? Of course not. I didn't see that coming. I fasted out of frustration because I can see what Derek Rose is talking about, and I didn't like it because I sensed a little bit of mockery on his end and his buddy's end towards me. But hey, look, these are only the people that run the planet, and I shouldn't concern myself with what they're saying, right? Because I might be led astray. I might be led astray. You know, that's why that Bible verse does say, for the sake of the elect, those days shall be shortened. If it were possible, all the way to the very end, the very elect shall be deceived, if it's possible to do that all the way to the very end. Now, the very elect would have to not know that there's a Christ in the world that has complete control of everything and will cause destruction and will have people meeting them in the desert places where the Bible says thou art not to go. If you fall for it, isn't that not on you? If anybody falls for it, like, all I can do is speak my mind. Try not to judge anybody, because I've done it plenty of times. I've called people liars, not understanding that my own perception is lying to me. Now, as perception widens and focuses in clearer, but you can also say, yeah, but I'm just being more deceived, thinking I can see, therefore my sin still remains. Well, yeah, maybe that's possible. But here's the thing. If somebody's trying to deceive me, and they run the planet, I mean, like, control the planet, and they're trying to deceive me by name, Robin, I feel honored. I feel extremely honored that people that run the planet are trying to deceive me, Robin Henry Tees. Who am I? Just a YouTuber that came out of nowhere from, like the dust up. Just poof, here I am. I'm sick of the bullshit that I see. Somebody's responsible for it, and it's time to get their attention. So apparently I got their attention. I know I got their attention. They know I got their attention. Others even know that I got their attention. But you got to understand this. When it comes to being led astray by the world planet leaders, and they're picking me out by a single individual, well, then I feel honored that they would even waste their time thinking about me, trying to set a trap and a snare for me. I know that when you're a liar, and Kleck has lied his ass off through numerous amount of videos before, and then has geared his way towards, well, what word do you think he's lying about? What does that word mean? How can you possibly take that word and it means X, Y, and Z positive compared to X, Y, and Z negative? How can one word have two different meanings and misinterpret it all at the same time? Well, it can. So as Kleck's eyes have widened, and because he has eyes to see and ears to hear, plenty of them all throughout the world, that's when he starts to recognize, oh, wait a minute. I see, the Bible's actually true. Because everybody starts out as John the Baptist. I started out as John the Baptist myself back in 2011. I was announcing that Christ is coming. Who's Christ? I don't know. He's coming. The Spirit is taking over. That's all I knew. And even at that time, I never expected one person to be Christ. I wasn't looking for one person to be Christ. I'm looking for the Spirit to take over. I've always understood it as the Spirit is taking over. So if you're trying to deceive me, and you are, I don't know, like a Hollywood producer that runs Hollywood, runs all of the actors, you're in control of the complete Hollywood planet, and you're trying to deceive me into believing in you, it's not going to work. It can't work. It only works for a short period of time, and then what happens is the Spirit of Christ knows better, so it trickles into your mind like that, and something snaps together like, nah, it's not, that doesn't feel right. Nope, it doesn't feel right. I'll never worship one person as Jesus Christ in the flesh. I won't do it. Especially if it's somebody that runs the planet. It's not going to happen. So, but here's what will happen. Anybody who is the candidate, like I said, any of you top messiahs that want to be America's next top interpreter, you will be put through the test. You will be taken up to a high mountain, and you're going to be looking down at the entire planet in like a blink of an eye, and you're going to be offered the entire planet. It might just be one individual, the Antichrist, that's taking over, sitting in that seat over there, which is necessary to have because there's a Christ seat over there, there's an Antichrist seat over there, there's a Enlil and Enlil and Inky seat, because this has to keep happening. This cycle keeps having to happen. The same person doesn't stay in the damn seat their entire life because they die. Their flesh body dies, but the Spirit stays. So the Spirit is what takes over. It's the Spirit that takes over. Yeah, is the Antichrist disgusting, sickening spirit taking over the planet right now with the setup? You're right, it does make me sick. It absolutely does. But I also appreciate the truth in it, because when you can see it coming, well, how can you be mad at it? But it is sickening that people are staged, set up, bricks handed to them, batons handed, and action. All of a sudden, we're swinging real hard with their foam batons that look like they hurt really bad, but they don't. And they swing really heavily hard. Yeah, it's sickening to death. But it's necessary. It's just what it is. It's necessary. So look, Nathan and anybody else who's concerned about my well-being when it comes to these two people leading me astray, I understand where you're coming from. And I also understand that the other thought is, well, they're not even people that run the planet. They're just idiots on the YouTube that think that there's some godly Christ-type people, and they're deceiving you, Robin. All right, fine. Fine, you can think that too. We can think anything. How do you handle it when you disagree? That is your true character. If you start pointing fingers and you start being disrespectful or making comments of, you know, like the people that will say about eating something and your malnutrition, you need to eat something, things of that nature. Well, thank you. Thanks for your concern about it all. My entire life, I learned the hard way. I hit the wall, turned around, looked at the wall, and said, I will never hit that wall again. Notice I didn't say I'll never hit another wall again. I'll never hit that wall again because I learned what I need to learn. I'm learning. 3 years in, first time ever having social media, being on the internet, doing anything when it comes to computers. First time in my life. I only need to do this for 3 years and some change on this level. And then I know my job's finished because I'm already at the point now where I'm starting to fade down towards, well, I already know who I got the attention of and my words were heard because they have ears and eyes to see and hear. So as I go on the decrease, somebody else must increase. On this type of platform, I must decrease and somebody else must increase. That would be the Christ Spirit is going to increase, because once you decrease, that Spirit has already been flooded into the people that need to start opening up their mouths and swallow up the flood after a times and a half. Because the dragon is going to cast out a great flood, but the earth, Christ, his apostles, are going to start opening up their mouths. And that gets through to the entire planet. And then for the next 3.5 years, they have a lot of words to prophesy with. But there's a halfway point, and we're coming up to the halfway point. Yeah, is the Antichrist going to reign for the next 3.5 years? Only if you let him. So yes, the Antichrist system will be in effect for the next 3.5 years to anybody who allows it. But then again, you got to remember, for the sake of the elect, those days shall be shortened. Which days? Well, when the scorpions, when they come out, when they already did that back in 2011, they're going to play it out again. And then for the sake of those days, for the next 3.5 days, those days will be shortened. But if anybody wants to believe that the Antichrist system is going to reign, and if you want to keep following along with it, then go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. I can only give my advice, push record, speak my mind, let it out there, push the upload button, upload my brain to the computer, and then it's out there forever, or at least until my channel's up, or however that works. And then I go like that and move along. The best thing I could have ever done was announce my fears out loud and then go on a 21-day fast and get the hell rid of any last possible fear and do 21 days of a fast that has never happened before in my entire life. And still live to tell you the story that, yes, you can live 21 days without food easily.